flexible, so that has, I think, caused her to evade actually taking the contact. So I
Okay.
am learning to just kind of hold steady.
Perfect.
And then I just did this really neat driver's seat assessment with Joanna Franz, who is a physical therapist.
Oh, how fun.
For the UNCT para
Mm-hmm,
Olympic
yeah.
rider. And so I have an issue that my right leg is a lot stronger than my left leg.
Okay.
So it tends to creep up and want to cross over and help my left leg. So I am working on my right leg, will never be my left leg,
That is a very good thing to work on.
which is probably why she's hollow right and Sid is a great left. So I created all the problems.
Oh. Somebody will. They will or you will. That is what it is.
Yeah, as I said, I brought young ones, so I didn't think somebody else's problem.
But you know what? Even if you buy the perfect horse and you're the perfect rider and everything else, there's still stuff. It's just stuff. It's just learning how to overcome stuff. We'll work on that. I know exactly why I teach you. This will be so much fun. She is charming.
And she thinks so.
Good. Pretty girls will think they're pretty. Straight ahead, just to take it a little. I don't know how comfortable is she in the whole ring. She could. I didn't know she was a warrior or not. Well, and this ring is a pretty safe space. I'm just gonna let her go a couple times around the ring, and then we'll start working for her, so you have a sense of what she looks like. Oh, she's darling. Change ring. She's got a little engine on her, doesn't she? Good. Good. And as you're going along, I want you to think about taking your left ring finger and really thinking about where the bit is in her mouth. Just close your left ring finger and keep it. Just really put your whole brain to your left ring finger. There. Now, put your whole brain into your right ring finger and even out the connection between the two sides. So instead of thinking that she's heavy or she's light, try to make her even. Does that make sense? Good. 20-meter circle in the middle. That's okay. I was a little late early. Sorry about that. 20-meter circle. Feel her right tongue on the right. Feel that you get your whole brain. Don't think I'm too handsy. Think my hands need to be doing something more useful. They're there. Feel that? One more 20-meter circle. You're going to place the bit lower in her mouth on the right. Don't think about how you do that. Just think about you're going to do it. There. Place the bit lower in her mouth. Good job. And feel her right tongue until she gets comfortable with the idea of a stable connection. Yeah, good for you. And one more circle and feel the outside tongue just to even up the connection. Yeah, I know she's going to touch both sides, baby. And find the left side again. Excellent. Excellent. Straight ahead. Find the left rein again, a little bit more. There, perfect. How does that feel? So you're just going to keep trying to level out that bit in her mouth. And I want you to just really, in your head, envision that that bit is laying across her tongue and that your right rein keeps it still and your left rein keeps it still. Because you're going to find that she's going to, you are aware of her being a little heavy on the left. Let's see if we can make her a little more stable on the right. Fair enough? Yep. If she can't take that, horses, when they are a little bit heavy, tend to lift the bit up a little bit in their mouth, like she just did on the right there. And I want, yeah, you felt that. That was super. So what I want you to do is I want you to feel like you're gonna put the bit a little lower on the right. You're gonna place it slightly lower on the bars. You got it, feel that?
Yep.
And you're gonna replace it again, lower on the bars. Isn't that cool? Yeah, she's dropping her head, 20-meter circle. And you're gonna place it lower on the bars again. There, you got the trot you paid for. Nice job. Keep it low on the right, because she's gonna feel how she lifts up her tongue. She just picks it up with her tongue and places it a little higher, because she's a young horse and she doesn't have the muscles in her tongue to keep it quiet yet. There you go. Excellent. You're gonna keep that bit really stable with 2 reins. Change rein across the diagonal. That trot should feel marvelous, does it? Yeah, it's really pretty. She's got a good back. She's one of those horses that has a great back. Lower the bit on the right slightly again. There you go. And feel her mouth. And she gets used to having that bit right up against her tongue. Yep. And now lower the bit on the left a little bit. See, that's super. And you're gonna get it. There you go. Wonderful ride. 120-meter circle here. And you're gonna place that bit a little lower on the left as she tries to ball up her tongue and move it. Good job. Yep. There. Heel or give?
Yep.
Awesome. One more circle. Place that bit slightly lower on the left. So you feel her relax her tongue against it. There you go. Feel that?
Yep.
Yep. Perfect. So instead of asking her to, what you're doing is you're actually getting her to give, and we'll talk about where it is in our neck, but you're asking for flexion, which is the part right behind the ears. And you're asking for the hyoid bone, the bone inside of the tongue, to become a little bit more relaxed. There, feel it?
Yep.
And now to the right side again. There you go. Perfect. Perfect. Yep, and you figure out which side she gets a little stuck on, and then you just put the bit half an inch there. Perfect. Straight ahead. And this is that, that's super. When you watch Carrie Ann's wonderful hands, this is what she's doing. Is she's placing that bit slightly lower in a place where the tongue can relax underneath it in a different way. That's super. Place the bit lower on the right. She's a little stuck on that side, and just help her find the side. So it's not that I want your hands to be less busy. I want them to be useful. Is that fair enough? Okay, that they have an effect every time you close that ring finger and you place the bit. There, super. That was great. You got it totally. Feel that? And then her mouth relaxes and then her tongue moves. Yes. You got to get your brain in your ring finger. And I think everybody here has heard me say that a time or two, is you got to get your brain into your ring finger. You've got to make your neurons much more linked to what that feeling is, where that is. Yeah, and find that left. She's trying to lift your left bit up. Yep. Just wait for it. Yep. Don't give up the right. There. And what's her trot like to sit? Is it easy to sit or hard to sit? Okay, let's sit there. Good. Now, using both reins, whenever you think the right moment is, bring her closer to you. Not quite such a big trot. A trot that's a little bit in her own balance. So she's not falling left, she's not falling right, she's not falling behind you, but she's 1 inch in front of you. There, how's that feel?
She's not used to it, so she's like, should I stop?
Yeah, she has to think her way through it. Because you want a trot that takes a little weight behind, because your goal is not to be at train level till the end of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. Change rein again. You gotta tell me when you're tired. Maybe I'll pay attention and let you stop. Maybe I'm just gonna get excited and won't, but I don't know. Good. You want just 1 inch in front of you, not 6 inches in front of you, just 1. That's it. That was a good half halt. Well ridden. Lovely. How do we feel about that? Yeah, me too. I feel like you got a finger in each hand of each of your hands in her mouth. She's gonna try and lift up the left again. You gotta figure out how to lower it. Awesome. There. Now the trot makes me happier as a judge. 20-meter circle. It does because it's got self-carriage. There, feel it? The back is working. And now what's happening is finally her tail is swinging. And once a horse's tail swings, I can give a 7 or better. If they don't swing in the back, they're going to get above a 7 for me. If they get to 7. And they start, that's it, super. The left hand lays quietly in her mouth. There, feel the back at the horse swinging. Could you feel that? Straight ahead because she gave in that joint right behind her ears. TMJ joint. There you go. And then her back gets more swingy again. Because as long as they're clenching their teeth, they can't swing in their back. Nice job. 15-meter circle when you get to E, and I promise, I swear, I will give you a break. Okay. Bring her with you onto that circle. That's it. So I think at this point you probably can see that it's not that she's just stiff on the left, it's that she needs to be even, right?
Right.
Because when she's even, she has a beautiful left contact.
Right. Like my husband would call it in the past, was just not supple through the pole.
Yes, he's correct. He's absolutely right. That's what it is. And a walk right. What a nice mare, huh? So it is that she's not supple through the pole. And the pole, what has to happen is the flexion that happens in the jaw is also the flexion that goes down the knuckle ligament that comes down the neck muscles and the knuckle ligament that allows the back to swing. And as long as a horse has stiffness in the jaw, they can't swing through the back. And you won't get that lovely feeling where their back comes really up. And there's an interesting, and I'm not gonna bore you with all kinds of weird details, but there's been a lot of studies done in Germany about tongues. And they did, and I'm sure everybody heard this before, but it's a very interesting study that talks about a young horse, because of course all the horses in Europe, when they're no longer are okay, get taken to the abattoir to be slaughtered. So that's how they do. So they can do, I mean, it's gross, but it's also, they can do a lot of research that we can't do here because we don't do that, right? So there was a study that a friend, actually a young lady that was in my barn for a while, who's getting her master's in Vienna, or a PhD in Vienna, talked about, and she was part of, and they did this study where they looked at horses' tongues, and they had people tell them how good the contact was when the horses were being slaughtered. It's an awful thing, but it's true. And they showed that horses gain muscle in the tongue over time. And the young horse has a very floppy tongue that doesn't have a big muscle in it, and as a horse goes up the levels, the tongue goes from being a flat surface like this, where they can't hold the bit, to getting a little lump like that. Okay, so that little lump that goes like that, eventually, if you look at me over here when I come back, the bit rests against that. And that's what good contact is the bit has this little the tongue gets a little tiny bit of a lump in it from the muscles that allows the bit to become stable in their mouth, okay? It takes time. And that's why we have to keep moving the bit low back in their mouth again to that comfortable spot so that they can, I want to say ball up the tongue behind the bit, but it's not a ball, it's just a little bit of a ridge that allows the tongue to be held quietly, or the bit to be held quietly against the tongue, and allows that great feeling when you feel like a horse takes your bit on a horse with a really great contact, and that is what is actually happening. Is it takes that time. It takes about 1.5 to 2 years for them to develop that space on the tongue that allows the bit to be held stable. And so in the meantime, we have to keep bringing it down lower to help them develop that space. Isn't that interesting? It's fascinating to me too, because it says that when we talk about a horse taking a while to develop a contact, that is what is being developed. And so when they also relax their tongue, they also let go in their poll. Those two things are linked together. When a horse relaxes their jaw, they also relax their tongue and let it slip down farther in their mouth. So there's an interesting correlation that happens between flexion and relaxed flexion and the tongue being laid quietly in the mouth. Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
So, and I thought you'd find that interesting because you're thinking already about it. You've got your brain and your tongue right now. So I thought, okay, then you know what you're feeling. Okay, so let's pick her up again.